Hi everybody, it's Mr. Dragon. Again, that's right, there's two of me. You're probably your worst nightmare. I wanted to do this video to talk to the clarinet players and the saxophone players about their mouthpieces and how to put those together. And that way, while this video is going, the live version of me can actually be walking around the room, helping other people and doing other things. Plus, the benefit of doing this on a video is that I can hold things like the mouthpiece right up to the camera to show you things close up that you wouldn't be able to see if I just stood on the podium. And also saves time, so this way I can talk to all of you at once rather than each individual. One of the first things you want to do to get your mouthpiece ready to be able to play it is to take out the teeth guard or mouthpiece guard that you should have gotten with your stuff, and you'll come up to me, or maybe I'll have a helper in the room as well, and we'll be very carefully cutting these in half. These aren't very expensive, but they're expensive enough that we can save you some money by cutting them in half. We cut them in half, and then we very carefully put it on the top part of your mouthpiece, and that is where your teeth will dig into, and that way it won't hurt as much as going into the plastic. Here's one that's a little bit thinner even on a tenor sax mouthpiece. So we're going to do that for you first. Then, if you got your clarinet from a relative or somewhere else like that, you might have gotten a ligature that looks like this. This is not what we want to use. If for the time being, for some reason, that's all you have and you haven't gone out to get the ligature we ask for, when you put your ligature and your reed together, it will look like this. You'll be looking at it, and the screws that tighten the ligature will be here at the bottom part of the reed, and you will tighten them with your right hand. That's how the old school ligature would work. But we asked you to get a better one that's going to be better for your playing, called a Rovner brand ligature, and that works a little bit differently. So we're going to go over that one right now. Okay, so you got your mouthpiece, and what would be really good clarinets is if this were already on the barrel. Okay, that will make things a little bit easier for you when putting the clarinet together. But for right now, I'm just showing you the mouthpiece. Your reed, which you would have had soaking in your mouth, sorry, went the wrong way, would already have soaking in your mouth, you would then place here on the mouthpiece. Now this is pretty important, and you'll get this adjustment pretty well. You put that really flush against the mouthpiece, and then as you're looking at it, if you look really closely at it, you should be able to see a tiny sliver of black at the top. This would be wrong. That reed is too far down. This would be way too much showing. So just like a little bit, almost like on your fingernails, like how it's all mostly one color, but there's a little bit of white at the top. That looks like a pretty good one right there. Then on this one, the ligature goes in. Look, it has a wider end and a smaller end. The wider end goes on first, and you'll see what's different from the first ligature that I showed you is now the screw is actually not on the reed side, but it's away from you. So as I'm looking at it here like this, get this lined up, and the Rovner ligature has two holes right here and here, almost like eye holes. I like thinking like it's a pair of eyes. They're looking at you, and you line that up and center that as best you can. And then you're still going to be tightening the screw of the Rovner ligature with your right hand, but now it's on the opposite side of where the reed is. And basically, you want to get that centered as much as possible. And again, that is the screw. You should be using your right hand to tighten that. Okay? If you're using your left, wrong. Okay? And if you've got the screw on this side, that's wrong as well. And what you basically do is get that tightened, feel it, and when it finally gets kind of tight, then go ahead and back it off a quarter turn. We don't want it so tight that it doesn't allow the reed to vibrate. Where on the reed should it be down? Well, see, look here on the reed how it's got this very light color where it's thin, and then all of a sudden it starts to thicken out. There's almost like you can see a line on the reed where it's changed from being the thin to the thicker part of the cane for the reed. The ligature needs to be below that. Any higher than that, and it's going to be so tight on the part of the reed that's supposed to vibrate that you wouldn't get a good sound. So that one's bad for a couple reasons. The reed's crooked, and the ligature is too high. On a saxophone, a tenor saxophone mouthpiece, again, the same thing. Actually, this one with the gold screw. There we go. Now on some of them, well, that's impressive. I just dropped it. I'm not going to re-record to cover up that blooper. That gives you a really basic idea. When you are putting the stuff together, just be really careful. This stuff, this part at the very top of the reed, is so thin. It's so easy to damage it. You just run it across that the wrong way. Just you're not very careful with it. I mean, I didn't push very hard at all, and you see that I've completely destroyed this reed. It's no good. It's unplayable. Okay, so you want to be really careful that you don't do that. Don't hit the tip of the reed against anything. Clarinet and saxophone players, your reeds are around $2 to $3 a piece. That's certainly a lot better than the poor oboe or bassoon player who, if they damage their reed, will be buying a new one for $15. But still, you don't want to waste the money. You want to be very careful with that. So hopefully that gets you on the good track to be able to help put your mouthpiece together, and hopefully the real live version of Mr. Dragon has maybe been over helping trombones put that together, or trumpets with their mouthpieces, or maybe flutes, make sure they've got Mr. Flute lined up. But either way, I hope that that will help you in putting your mouthpiece together the right way, and we'll actually worry about playing those things on Monday. All right, thank you. See you later.